I'm just checking the battery. Anyway, good afternoon everybody. I've waited and waited for most of today and it's been a bit wet outside. So my promised video is going to go ahead. It's going to be filmed from inside the cottage and on the verandas, because there's one over by the lodge as well. So I shall open this sticky back door. Jack's out here, he doesn't seem to mind. Oh, he says no, coming in. It is, hello, yeah. It is a lovely day and the birds are singing. It's Good Friday, or the Friday of the Easter weekend, of the Ostara weekend. And it is rather lovely, but it's a wee bit cold, a fair bit wet, and Jack doesn't care. So I'm going to take this video camera and myself, leaving Jack out there to get the air, around and into the lodge. I'll just have a look out the front door first so you can see. I've got my second delivery of books here. Look at this. So lots of books ready there for anyone who wants to order one. Jack's he suspect this for Lark. I'm coming in the front. Oh no, he's going out now. No, I'm not going out, Jack. I've no intention of going out in the rain. Standing there waiting for me. Right, okay, just a few little zoom-ins. I want to show you the cherry tree. This is the fruiting cherry tree, of course, which is now in full blossom. I brought that cherry tree from London 13 years ago in a paper cup. So how is that for growth? It's actually beautiful. My favourite tree. I've allowed it to grow very, very tall. So it's the birds who get the fruit, but that's fine. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they have the fruit? There's a little Kanzan cherry tree, which is just flowers only, and that's thickening up. The blossom is thickening up in there. That'll be covered in pink blossom soon. Pink or white, sort of pinky white. And here by the front door, the Cotoneaster has come out in leaf on both sides. And I've got a few little pansies there in the hanging basket. I think that's the blackbird singing. So I'll go round to the door of the lodge and watch to see Jack following. I've lit the stove in here just to dry some clothes and heat the water. I may have a shower later on. We'll see here out the front window of the kitchen. My little stained glass chicken seems very apt for the day that's in it. And there's my little candle burning. I burn this candle, well, I burn lots of candles around the cottage, but I normally light a candle every morning and I make wishes for various people. So there are people, and many of you, who are having difficulties in your life, and you know, problems with families especially. I always feel very very tuned in with people who are having problems in their families, with their children, with their grandchildren, maybe with their partners. So I always light a candle and I'm just mindful. I'm mindful, that's all. Some people say, well, you know, you pray or you do. Well, I don't pray. I'm just mindful and send out good wishes. I send out lots of good wishes and care and blessings. So you can see just out the window there, the lovely field maple is now coming into leaf. We just go on through now into the lodge. And as you can see, it's 3 o'clock. And this is my little pantry. I'll turn the light on here because the pantry doesn't have any windows, although both doors have got glass in them. So this is where I keep all my stores. And I have a little tiny little oven and hob here, electric, sort of an emergency one, because I normally cook on the stove and you know, bake as well on the stove. Then this is my little compost loo, my little shower. I have a little shower here, my towel, bookcase, little sink, there's a window. But we're going to go through now into the lodge. And as you can see, Sammy Bear is there on the sofa. And that little minx of a girl, Beauty, is there on the bed. That's her favourite spot. She loves being on that bed. And the stove is lit. Although I have it sort of closed up, so there's just a heat coming off it now. It's not actually flaming. I'm drying some clothes in here. And I have my laptop here, so I'll be uploading this video. So what I'm going to do is just open the door. There he is. He says, I'm coming in now, that's it. You're not keeping me. All right then. He sat down on that. He says, that's enough. I'm not playing musical doors any longer. Yeah, I understand, Jack, yeah. So this is the view from the lodge door. As soon as I come near the door, look, Jack wants, because he's a sheepdog, he just wants to go out. He doesn't mind about the rain or anything. Little water barrel there. There's little bits of kindling down there. It's a lovely view, isn't it? There's the tunnel over there beyond the arch. If the weather's good tomorrow, I may do another video and take it out around the gardens so you can see everything. Just see the potager beds actually. There we go, just there. And you can see where I've been planting peas. And there's lots of other vegetables in the potager beds now. So I'm just going to sit down here beside Sammy Bear, if he doesn't mind, and just focus the camera there on the door. There we go. There's Jack sat down beside me. Yeah. So, well, there's been an awful lot of stuff happening in the news. It hasn't been a good week for news. And when I start to hear some of the crap that's happening out there in the world, I just turn everything off, because if I can't do anything about it, what is the point in absorbing it? So, yeah, bombs, missiles, war, crazy presidents. I think all politicians are a bit mad anyway. Some madder than most. So, and of course a lot of people all over YouTube talking about the effects of climate change and how dire everything is. Well, let me just say this. There's nothing dire here at Belton Cottage. Everything is growing and blooming, and birds are singing, and bees are buzzing, and water's flowing, and everything's fine. So sometimes, you can just get caught up in the world out there, and you can end up becoming as dissolute and as, out of sorts and depressed by all of it. And what is the point? Is there a point? No. I read a lot. I don't have television here, so I do read a lot. And one of my favourite series of books, I'm just going to get up and see if I can find it here. Sorry, Jack. Yeah. Here we go. It's by Robert Harris. And this one, Dictator. And it's a trilogy of books all about the fall of the Roman Empire. Well, the beginning of the fall of the Roman Empire. And in the time of Cicero, who was the great senator. And it's really an incredible series of books, because when you begin to read, when you get into the story, and Robert Harris actually creates a complete story around the facts, you become immersed in what you begin to realise very quickly is a parallel with what's happening now, and perhaps a parallel with what has happened over and over and over again. Because you're talking about an empire, the Roman Empire, you're talking about the diminishing end of that Roman Empire, and it kind of diminishes fairly quickly. It sort of implodes upon itself. And all the same problems were happening then as are happening now. The problem of food crisis, food prices going up, terrorism, war, the discontent of soldiers in armies, the lack of care to veterans from wars, the greed of the political system, the control of food by sort of the black market and gangsters, and which has a parallel with the way the corporations control food. So all these issues were there, and they're the same issues that we have today. And of course, when I think of political leaders, and names I'm not going to mention, but when I think of leaders of great nations who are doing their best to play to the media and play to the kind of demands and desires, if you like, of the powerhouses that surround him. The same thing was happening in Rome. So the leaders who say, oh no, we're not going to have war, and we're going to stop NATO, and we're going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And it turns out absolute bullshit. Bullshit. And political leaders seem to be very adept at spouting bullshit. And I've always said, well, for about the past 40 years I've said, don't ever listen to what a politician has to say, because they will say whatever they think you want to hear in order to get into power. Look at their actions. And there's none of them come with a clean slate. Look at what they've done before. Look at how they've treated people. Look at what their general outlook on life is. Look at how they've voted. Look at all those things that they've done. That will tell you all you need to know. And when they come on the big screen, spouting their wares, turn the sound down and watch their body language. How very revealing all that is. So that's my little take on why I cannot, nor will I, be bothered with mainstream politics, mainstream media, mainstream news, because it's all revolving. It's never evolved. We have not moved forward, and the Roman Empire collapsed in the latter part of the 5th century. Do you realise that that was over 1500 years ago? 1500 years, and it's still doing the rounds, revolving like a merry-go-round, relying upon people to buy into all the bullshit. So here at Belton Cottage, I live my life. I try to live in as much joy as possible. That's not difficult, because the only things that make me sad are people and the actions of people. Animals don't make me sad. The birds outside don't make me sad. The flora and fauna all around me gives me great joy. To watch the seasons gives me great joy. To light my little stove here and have all the warmth, so much warmth that I can have the door open. To listen to the wind chimes. To make a pot of tea. To read a good book. To snuggle up in a warm bed. All the things that give us joy, and yet we allow ourselves to be brought down by the bullshit. You know, people talk about us being in a state of eternal war now because of the war on terrorism. Well, let me tell you, ordinary people, for hundreds and hundreds of years, have been terrorised by the few. And more often than not, it's not men in masks. It's men in suits. Or men in very expensive clothing. Read history. You can take any section of history and read it from anyone's point of view, because all historians are different. and enjoy reading it. It's a story. And during that story, you'll see those common threads, and it's like a huge deja vu. It's good to see little Sammy Bear drinking water, because he's been behaving quite strangely recently. Well, I think last night there was a full moon, and he decided to go out, and he didn't come in the whole night. And this morning I went out, and he was under a bush in the garden, meowing, and filthy, and wet. So he'd obviously been led astray by the moon. Isn't that right, Sammy Bear? Sammy, you were led astray, weren't you? So there we go. That's a little rendition of my thoughts, I suppose. A simple life. To try to live a simple life. And you know, the simpler that you can make your life, the happier you will become. If you can downscale, downsize, get rid of all the stuff that you don't really want. Or should I say, get rid of all the stuff that you don't really use. If you haven't used it for a year or more, you don't need it. And decide on the things that make you really happy. And spend more time enjoying those things. Oh, now, when I'm thinking about this, I'm just sat here thinking, there was someone, whether it was left as a comment on YouTube or as a comment on Facebook or on my website, I can't remember exactly, but someone did ask me about roses and the best way to grow roses. So I'm going to dodge the rain now and show you. Okay. I've got some beautiful roses here at Beltona, climbing roses. This is how I grow them. So you can see this beautiful climbing rose up here, goes all the way along, stretches out about 15 feet, I think, and masses of it here on the inside. So this is how I grow it. Okay. I plant the rose into 2 tires. The tires are placed directly on gravel, which says you need to have them as free draining as possible. Okay. They like the warmth, so the black tires absorb the warmth, and also they like a lot of food. They're very hungry. If you want good roses, you must feed them well. So I feed them with whatever, is there. So when I empty my compost bins, which is from my compost toilet, and after a year and a half or 2 years, it's degraded beautifully and is sweet smelling manure, I feed the roses with that, okay? I also, as you can see, I feed them with a little bit of horse manure if I can get hold of it. And I try to make sure that as the rose is growing, you decide on either 1 or 2 stems. Now I decided on 2 stems, and a bit like grapevine, I took all the new growth off those stems until they got up to here. So one stem is going in that direction and the other stem is going in that direction, okay? What else do I need to tell you about this? Don't let them dry out. They like, you know, plenty of water, but free draining, very important. Come back to that. The other thing I use on the roses is urine water. So, you know, look, I have no problem peeing in a bucket. And when you pee in a bucket, you mix about 10 parts of water in with that, and you water your flowers, especially your roses. You'll get incredible flowers, incredible roses, and you can even put it in around your vegetables if you so wish. Now, obviously don't pour it over your vegetables. You pour it around your vegetables on the soil. I've got some cardboard there, look, which I'm going to be using later on. If it dries up a little bit to do a bit of mulching. And there's my peas that I've planted in half cut away plastic bottles. That's to protect them from the slugs and to also provide little cloches for them. Now this is the other rose which I planted only, when did I plant this? The year before last. So this is now coming into its third year, okay? And I've done exactly the same thing here. So there's the tires straight on the gravel, and compost in there, plant the roses in, plant them in deep. Now this is a little bit different, this rose. I've allowed multi-stems to come on this because this isn't a climbing rose, this is more a rambling rose, and they like to ramble. So it's kind of semi-wild in a way, I think, the rambling roses, that they're much more akin to the wild roses, you know, the Rosa canina. So again, I've trained it up there, look, and you'll get most of the blooms will come on the horizontals. Can you see what I mean by the horizontals? That coming along here, it sort of flaps down a little bit and you get new growth coming up here. And again, lots of food, pea water, and free draining, and that's it really, that's it. And of course they do like sunshine, they really are very fond of sun. So there we go, look at all that beautiful Chinese forget-me-not. The bees adore that. Fabulous, isn't it? And I've got some lovely, lovely fungi growing on these logs. Look at this. And those logs just go straight down into the vegetable bed. I've got some beautiful wisteria. The flowers are just starting to open up. Lots of sage there for the water tap. Got some lavender in stalks there. And some geranium. Well, actually it's pelargonium. So, that's it. Now, I think I shall go and make myself, strange I know, a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee, that's what I fancy having. So, enjoy your Easter weekend, your Ostara celebrations, and blessings to you all.